Welcome to part 2 of the How to Open Packs video. In the first part of this two-part series, we looked at opening some packs and taking note of what players were worth keeping and which ones were worth investing in. And in this half of it, what I want to do is allow you to take those cards and determine whether or not they would find a place in your lineup alongside your players, given if you have a third baseman of an OVR of 95, would this third baseman you're looking at that you just opened from a pack be worthy of actually keeping to potentially take his spot? The other thing I want to walk you through is how it is that some cards actually appear to be higher OVR than other ones. And where you might actually make a mistake of choosing a lower grade card. So this is going to be entirely in just slides and numbers, so no actual in-game stuff. So we'll start off with a chart that I used previously in one of my other videos. So what we're looking at here in this chart is a projection of what a 2016 Trout and a 2015 Rizzo might look like if you were to take them through the various grade levels and the range of OVRs that you would see out of those. So for example, by the way, Rizzo being the one that starts out at 70. So Rizzo is, his base card is an OVR 70, and as a bronze you'd see him as a 72 or 73. As a silver you'd see him as a 74, 76, and etc. on up the line. Now, the first important point to recognize about this chart is that the point at which Rizzo could potentially come out higher than Trout is at silver or higher level. So when you're talking about bronze cards, bronze and base cards, if the OVR is higher, you're pretty much guaranteed that that's the better card. It's when you start talking about silvers, golds, and diamonds that you could potentially see cards that are lower appear like they are the better card. And that's where you start to need to look at the math and the base card to determine which one is truly the better card. So this kind of gives you an idea that as you go up the scale to gold and diamond, the chances of that occurring increase. In part one, you heard me make reference to this table that we're looking at right now. And with this table, what you can do is you can start to take a base player card and you can start to estimate what he might look like at various grade levels. And it actually, you can also kind of reverse the logic there too as a quick and dirty method. Once again, if you want to get precise numbers, you're going to need to reference my other videos, but let me walk you through what we're looking at here. So if I were to pull a normal card, reflected in the top line here where it just says normal, and if I were to see that card as a bronze, I would see it as 2 to 3 OVR higher than the base card. A silver will be 4 to 6 OVR higher, 7 to 10 for gold, etc. on up the line. Now the next line down allows you to predict, if you were to take a normal card, what would he look like as a level 20 or maxed level card. So this is where you can start to project if you have a player who is a certain grade level on your OVR level on your team already, then you can say if you pull a normal card, you can add these numbers together and see what he would look like at max level of equivalent. You know, if you had a gold card you're comparing to, you would add 18 to 21 to them, and that's what you would expect to see this player be at, so that you can compare him against your existing player and allow you to determine whether or not you want to keep him. For primes, it's slightly different because that's very predictable. You always know exactly how those are going to increase, so those numbers are precise. The other thing I want to point out here is if we go back to the top line, using this same logic, we can actually reverse things. And if you pull a silver, you could actually subtract 4 to 6, and you can kind of get a gauge of what the base card is going to look like based off of that. And once again, repeating myself, you would really need to get specific with the numbers and use the info from my other videos to get actual precise numbers there. reading from the bullets here, the second line, you'll notice the bronze numbers are slightly lower. That's because bronze cards max out at level 10. So whereas silver, gold, and diamond, that's going to reflect a level 20 card. I have not included set bonuses here personally. When I pull a normal card and I want to know what he's going to look like as a diamond, I actually add 31 to him because that's the 26, the max OVR for a diamond, and an additional 5 for a diamond set bonus. So you can adjust accordingly for based on what what team you're building. If you're dealing with mostly gold players, then you'd only be adding those extra points if you were talking about a pitcher, and it wouldn't be 5. Let's see. Oh, the last thing to note here is all the ranges here for golds and diamonds do not include auction or free agent players because those ranges are slightly different. If you need a better understanding of that, please see my video on the truth about free agent and auction players. Moving on. Using the combination of the last table that I just showed you and what we talked about in the last video for what are good OVRs for base players, we can come up with kind of a guideline as far as what we should actually be looking at for players based off of what grade level they are. So more explicitly, if I pulled a bronze player and he was OVR 75 as a pitcher, then I could use this chart and see, yeah, he's a 74 or above. That makes him worth keeping. So basically what I did here is I took starting pitchers based off of 72 being what I would look for in a starting pitcher, well, base OVR 72, and I started to add not the max OVR, not the max increase you would see from a bronze, but a good one. For silver and gold and diamond, all those I would favor the higher side. So that would pretty much ensure that you're probably looking at a top grade player for any of these levels. For relievers and closers, because they don't have stamina, their numbers start off a little bit lower than starting pitchers. And then batters, of course, are on a slightly different scale as well. But this kind of gives you a guideline. If you're looking at a gold right off the bat, you can recognize whether or not you're probably looking at a better player and allow you to filter out the junk ones very quickly. So hopefully, using the combination of these three things, this gives you all the ammo you need to really take a look at any player that you open from a pack, regardless of grade level, compare them against your existing team, and get a reasonable idea of whether or not it's a player to keep. So I hope you find this useful. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you find the information useful, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and thanks for listening.